Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts. So Bitcoin got a little bit of a rip to the downside, only to break it back up with a vector candle with a fury to the upside. We were looking at a little bit of a push to the upside off of the cloud holding on the 6 and the 12 hour, and the hourly was looking a little bit weak. We'll get into that in a minute. But on this chart, on this pitch fan, we've had price trapped in for since January. It's holding this 0.5618 upwards drift in this ascending channel manner. You can just take 2 clicks with the regression trend to find that out and be like, it's going up. I should probably think about taking that swept range long. We'll get into what liquidity was swept, and with high block, what is high block? Well, people lock their liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss, and we get to see where those crispy characters lie in wait. So let's do it now. So with the rip to the downside that occurred, they took out these small pools of longs, but there was really not that much induced on the long side of things until they started to rip it up here, and now they started to get 238 million induced as they came up into the range to take out that 218 million, about 35,828. And we were looking at that pool getting hit, so they took out that entire 25x pool of shorts, and now they could be retracing back into some of these 50x longs all the way down at, there's a 100x pool down at 34,964. So we'll mark that off in the chart over here, 34,964. But before we forget, we'll just go over what we were seeing yesterday. Yesterday we were at this circle and we were talking about possibly breaking down at this weak cloud on the hourly, and we did break down and bearishly retest, and you would have been able to catch that nice short hopefully, and then think about possibly positioning into a long. So we swept this range here, so this liquidity pool was taken, so we can delete this little line. That little bit of happiness was reclaimed here, and the next pool is down here at the 34,944, so we'll do a little bit of a pool retrace here, 34,944. That puts you about there. So there's a 100x pool down here inside this vector candle. This is to the tune of 238 million that we could come back to. And we are on Wednesday, November 8th. A possible continuation of Tuesday's play, which was basically a range play. We did go down and come back up, but we're just trading in this range here, this ascending channel range, mainly to the upside. So we recovered this wick for the most part on the 4-hour time frame, and then we started to make our ascent. We did not sweep the range or come down to the 33.8 region. These pools still waiting. So ultimately bullish as we make this ascending channel path to the upside. All right, so let's go ahead and expand our vision to the higher time frame pools, see if there's anything that has changed since yesterday. Most likely no, because they are higher time frame for a reason. So if we look at the 7-day, they came and swept up into that 7-day liquidity up here at the 36K region. There is still some to take up at that 36.2 or 3 level. We were looking at that on the monthly time frame, I believe. There is that at some point to retrace into. Do they sweep up to the 36.3 region and take the 64 billion first up at 36.3 or not? That is the question. Coming to that 2-year, you got 143 billion up there at 36.4. Do they sweep it entirely? We've talked about how they leave some on the table on every side of the trade. Mostly they come and leave it there and come back to it later. Then they leave some stuff there and possibly come back to it later. So let's go into the monthly really quick and try to glean the understanding that we can and bid you adieu. Let's go see what's up. Howdy to everyone in the chat. So essentially this deep retrace, we basically negated that deep retrace zone. We came into the 886 of this entire region. I mean, technically you could say this is a 786 rejection because of the candle close here, in which case you could be coming down into these regions. And this will also likely coincide with the trend-based fib levels. If we go like this, and yeah, if we go to the momentum, let's go ahead and see what we can see on the momentum here. Link is in the description for more. MomentumMaster.info. Heads up display is on, and you can scroll down to the features, toggle at your leisure, or read about each component like the trend cloud, the stochastic array, and the baselines, and so on and so forth. So if we're going to take a look, The thing we were seeing yesterday was this cloud holding, and we were talking about if we can hold that cloud, we can get that surge to the upside. We broke the cloud with the fury on the 4-hour time frame. Now the cloud is insinuating a possible continuation to the downside. If we go to the 6-hour, this cloud was likely affected as well, but has yet to show it. But this was what we were looking at, and then the curvature on the hourly had me concerned because the angle in which it was curving was suggesting if you cannot maintain this, then you're going down. And ultimately we put like an upside play projection out because the liquidity suggested it, but I guess it went down to grab some of those 100xers before they could fuel the ride up to that region. And so where do we go from here? Let's go ahead and remove this because that projection played out in terms of the angle of the cloud and everything. And let's go down through the daily descent of the time frames. Daily candle closes in about 40 minutes. We are staving off the Williams cross, alarm cross event, attempting to make a push up here. The money flow is beneath the RSI here, suggesting that the money flows up to the RSI, getting a little bit more of a surge to the upside. A lot of YouTubers I was seeing from their thumbnail were being reactive to price and saying bearish, 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 and most likely bear trapping their audience as they do with their reactionary moves. So let's go ahead and look at the 22-hour. The 22-hour also getting that disparity between the baselines and the right RSI, possibly getting a push up on the 22 if they trapped some characters of shorts down here. They could take them for a ride, but once again the longs entered in a furious manner with $200 million pools that they're pushing up the price with, that they could retrace into that 34,943 level with. The angle of the cloud on the 22 is very strong, has yet to abate and turn to 3 o'clock at all, so I'd be careful of shorting it just yet. 12-hour also still on your side with the super trend and everything. One thing to note is we have not yet put in a higher high, have we? So we have technically put in a lower high for the first time in this 12-hour candle. So until we can go and hit that 36,162 pool, then we're basically possibly starting to fizzle a little bit. And if we go to that oscillator on the 12-hour, we're having this ambiguous takeoff as the Williams kind of drags the stochastic down. The money flow is beneath the RSI, suggesting that push possibility coming up. It's already happening on the 6-hour when you have this disparity between them starting to push up to the money flow up to the RSI there. You got that on the 6-hour. And you're starting to get this angular push continuing on that steady momentum on the 6. The 4-hour starting to show some ambiguousness as it blips into the purple, but it just did that dip before it bounced up, so it's doing very much the same. Looking at the hourly, so the hourly does have a possible cloud kiss inbound. What is a cloud kiss? Well, you break the cloud, you come back, you kiss it, and then possibly continue. So are we coming back to that 50x pool and or hourly cloud event for those that missed out? Will there be another chance to enter over here? And this idea could be coming. If you see here, this will also be a fib level, most likely 706 region. So if we come into the golden pocket, we could be coming up into this level up here. I'm recently experimenting with some of these retracement projections into the like a fib retracement level. It's pretty much the same as these trend-based fib levels, but it doesn't factor the retrace. I like factoring the retrace though. When you finally get the retrace, it gives you a little bit more of an exact level to look for resistance at as well. So we're not abandoning them, but we're just trying out something different. I watched it occur on the NASDAQ, so this level is kind of interesting to note, the -2.7 and the -618. So if we get a retracement into this pocket, then perhaps if there's strength here on the cloud, we could continue. I would be waiting for a gap recovery on this fair value gap idea. So you have a gap all the way down to here, technically. And that would put you into the deep retrace zone. So you have some levels to look at, some liquidity zones here, and some fair value gaps there, and the golden pocket regions here. And that's it in a nutshell. Today was giving a little bit of a sign of strength, so it gives you that little bit of confluence to look for a potential non-FOMO play if it gives it to you. So coming back into this pocket / fair value gap region could send you up into these upwards regions and go take out this other pool and try to put in a higher high. Let's go ahead and look at Dixie and the total and all that fun stuff. So the previous altcoin rally was experiencing a little bit of fatigue, obviously, with the nukes. Now it's starting to kind of people considering taking profits on their little bit of runs to the upside on their altcoin rallies. And if we go to the USDT dominance, getting that rocket ship coming down into this region, possibly getting a idea of people getting knocked out of their trade at some point. Bitcoin dominance getting a little bit of a surge as people take their profits and reinvest into Bitcoin. Total already marking up beyond the projection of this level and possibly coming up back into old regions here at some point. You do have some zones to think about here. So we're gonna just go back and market replay this really quick. It isn't available, so we can't do that for total for whatever reason, but okay. But inside here is some gaps. You have to go to lower time frames to remove where it was actually traded fairly. So it was traded fairly in here up to a point, basically up to here. So there is a place for the level to come back to at one point for this ascending channel to break back down to over here at some point. And Dixie starting to come back into the channel after the drop down. NQ made a little bit of run to the upside yesterday. I was noticing these inverse relationships for some time now between the indices and Bitcoin, watching the indices run while Bitcoin drops, and when Bitcoin rises, the indices drop. So it's possible if the indices take a little bit of a retrace here, Bitcoin goes up into these levels. Would not be surprised. So let's go see if you have anything you'd like me to look at while we have me here for a little bit. Got to take my son to school and start my day, as it is 8:28 a.m. in Asia. Anyone have anything they want to look at? Anything on their radar that they're looking at? So the beautiful thing is you would have gotten those 6 time frames oversold. The 5s and the 6s are pretty good for these dynamic alerts. So once again, the Momentum Master slogan is like, I'm not your guru, you be your own guru. And so you would be able to receive these dynamic alerts to your phone that keep you informed on your own time. So let's see who's calling me. My friend is giving me a call. I gotta call him back. So yeah, basically coming down into this region and possibly bouncing at some point off of the liquidity down here. That you do have some 50xers at 238 million at 34,964, and if you sweep the entire range, then that was a stop loss hunt to go lower basically. So if you're in a short in this region, congratulations, but consider putting your stop into profit and or break even and just watching it ride down to this region. Look for some strength for a possible push up into newer highs, and that is about it. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it, folks. Let's go see if you have anything you want me to look at. Mara earnings due tomorrow. How's Caspa doing? Mara and Caspa. We'll do Mara and Caspa real quick. Mara USDT. You said Mara? Oh, the Mara. I see, for the Nasdaq. I see, and then Caspa. 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 Very much in a similar state. So we're basically in, obviously, all-time highs. This is new price discovery. So we're at a price discovery range. Does this have a... Does Caspa have a projection here? No, it does not. Sometimes they have altcoin liquidity things here. So 4-hour time frame is still good to go, but how much more do you have? The altcoins look like they're still wanting to rally here. With Bitcoin getting that surge up, they're getting that continuation strength permission. And basically you have like a gap down here. That we have yet to hit on the hourly. We did trade fairly into it there, so we can move this down. And then you get more specific, you see. So you start with that big gap on the hourly, and then it turns into this small gap based on that 1 5-minute candle. So basically coming down into this region, if we take the impulse from here, the fib retracement from here to here, that puts us at the 618 exactly. So do we come back down to that region and see a reaction similar to Bitcoin here? Same kind of idea. Do you get a reaction and bounce or not? And the projection zones would be up in here. And if we did a fib retracement, trend-based fib level, it would be very much the same, a little bit higher actually within that region. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it, folks. So thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you on the flip side.